I don't know what your capacities for mystery are. One of the reasons there are different theologies in the world, let's just use some names here, Calvinism and Arminianism. One of the reasons there are divisions like that, there are many reasons, but one is capacities for mystery. I remember being in seminary and being told by some people who didn't like where the class was going in theology, that you Calvinists are just logic choppers. You're so precise, you're so rational, you just try to force God into your boxes. And I would listen, because I went to seminary as a non-Calvinist. I went to seminary as a flaming free-willer. You may have heard me tell the story. I was standing in front of Jim Morgan one day after he had argued about the sovereignty of God, and I held up in front of his face like this, my pen, and I dropped it. I said, I dropped it! Like that proved it. Like, I'm in charge. I have a will, for goodness sakes. Don't tell me God's in charge of that. I dropped it. Well, I changed before the end of that class. But that's where I came. That's where I came. I was that. And so when they said to me, oh, you Calvinists are just logic choppers forcing God into your little boxes, I was thinking, I don't think it's that way. It looks to me like the Calvinists are asking me to believe imponderable mysteries, and the other group has their boxes. Don't want to offend anybody. Yeah, I do, but I don't want to alienate anybody. So let me illustrate with this email. What I mean is, everybody I have ever talked to about this who disagrees with me argues largely from it cannot be, and so the text can't mean that. Instead of saying the text sure looked like they mean that, so it must be, and there's something wrong with my head. That's the way I think. I see what's in the text, and I say my head's the problem. It's too small, it's too self-centered, it's too something, but I'm the problem, not the Bible. Whereas others come and they have their convictions, like, if that were true, there'd be no free will. Ergo, it can't mean that. I say, that's a box. That's squeezing God in your free will box. It's never been my experience that the Calvinists are the logic choppers and the box fitters. It's that the Calvinists seem to be the people who see text and say, I don't get it, but there it is. It's just there. And I've got to bow. I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. I wept for a whole semester in college when I was 22 years old because my life was falling apart. My Sunday school theology was falling apart. And when your paradigms fall apart, it hurts. There's emotional terror almost inside that what you thought could be wrong. So last year I got this email from somebody that had just gone to a conference with a philosopher, and I'm not going to give you his name. I'm not going to give you any names. If you want to know the philosopher's name, I might tell you if you ask me in the break, because I don't think it's any secret, but in this setting it might not be appropriate. So listen to this. This week I spent time with blank. So this philosopher teaches an evangelical seminary. He does not like Calvinism too much. He began to talk about how the mass majority of the exegetes, now that's Bible people, Bible interpreters, as opposed to philosophers, that the exegetes adopt Calvinistic interpretations while the mass majority of philosophers and apologists opt for Arminianism. We came to some fascinating conclusions, all of which I will not share, but he did say, quote, it is true Calvinists have the exegesis behind them, but we have philosophy. And I think libertarianism, that means free will understood as self-determination, I think libertarianism trumps exegesis and must determine it. I said to him, so we have to bring our theology to the text? Answer, yes, he responded. The ethical implications of Calvinism are too severe. So a major evangelical philosopher says the exegesis is on the side of the Calvinists, philosophy is on the side of the Arminians, and you have to bring your philosophy to the text. Otherwise, the conclusions you draw are too severe. Now, I do not think that way. And you just need to know that. If I see something that feels too severe, I cry, I struggle, I may not preach it right away, I talk to people, I just try, God help me, please. I am not going to rise up over your word. I'm not going to rise up over your word and tell this book what it has to mean. I mean, that's what liberals have done forever. Picking and choosing from Jesus what teachings they like and what they don't, or picking from Ezekiel 16 what part you like and what part you don't. You know what happens if you do your theology that way? It's just a reflection of your culture, or your family, or yourself. It's not. Whereas there's a glorious freedom if you're willing to live with tension and live with mystery. There's a glorious freedom in just taking the Bible for what it, after very rigorous effort, is meaning.